You heard Senator Edwards on the Guantanamo decision. You guys seem to be at polar opposites on this issue.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that my friend ignores is the fact that there is a procedure for hearings. There is a procedure that's more liberal than anything we've ever had in the history of this country as far as foreign enemy combatants are concerned. And it winds up in the federal courts, as a matter of fact, under the process before the Supreme Court just did what it did. But
there's no guaranteed right to review for the detainees at Guantanamo right now, though, before the Supreme Court decision.
Oh, yes. There is the Federal Circuit Court, D.C. Circuit Court. That's where it winds up. That's where, when they go through the military procedure at Guantanamo, then they have a right to appeal to that court. And it's been there for about 2.5 years, and these petitioners have not availed themselves of it. So Justice Roberts said in his dissent that this is the most liberal procedure that we've ever had in the history of the country as far as wartime is concerned. But what the court has done, in a nutshell, is to basically give access to our federal court system on a habeas corpus basis. The same rights as an American citizen would have. These are rights given to foreign enemy combatants and held in foreign territories in a time of war. And not only is it erroneous, I think, under the reading of the Constitution and the historical precedent, it's bad policy. They've basically taken something that's been under the purview of the other two branches, elected branches of government, for all these years, and arrogated that to themselves. I think that's bad for them, and I think it's bad for the country.
We've never seen a situation quite like this before. We have a war that there's really no time frame for it, and you have so many of these.
Well, whose fault is that, George? I mean, the fact say the war is going on a long time, whose fault is that?
But in this situation, these combatants at Guantanamo don't have the right to review unless they get that tribunal, and so many of them haven't gotten it.
No, they're entitled to the tribunal, and that's what's been established now. Under the Hamden decision that was recently handed down, the court basically said for an American citizen, this kind of tribunal system would be okay. So the Congress went back, and on a bipartisan basis, they worked out a system, as I indicated, that winds up in federal court on an appellate basis. And now the Supreme Court's going back and saying, well, what we said was okay for an American citizen is insufficient for a foreign national. So it doesn't have any precedent for what it did in this particular instance. And I think at a time when all of our institutions are under attack in this country, at a time when the federal judiciary has been above that, that it's bad for a court system. I think it's bad for the rule of law in this country for a court to step out and, I think, read the newspapers and watch a little too much television and do something with probably have the effect of shutting down Guantanamo, which is a politically popular thing to do now.
Do you think that the Supreme Court's going to be a voting issue this year?
Sure, absolutely. I can't think of anything that more starkly points out the differences in these two presidential candidates in terms of the kind of justices that they would appoint to the Supreme Court. Barack Obama opposed Chief Justice Roberts, who I think will go down as one of the greatest jurists that we've had. He's in lockstep with MoveOn.org and all the liberal positions and all the opposition to good federal judges who are coming up through the system for the Supreme Court. They've shut down now the appointment of other federal judges at a time when many of these courts are greatly understaffed. No, I think that this is a pretty good issue to highlight the differences in these two candidates at a time when our judiciary is arrogating more and more power to it.